In a lot of ways, the Texas football program is a lot like the Dallas Cowboys. They're both huge brands. Popular brands in ways, both ways. People that love them and the haters. I mean, they're big brands. So popular, both of them, and they've had similar trajectories through the years, but they're so popular, the brands are so big, so dominant, that even when they're mediocre or worse, which has been a lot, they've been that way for a long time, both of them, they still sell merchandise like crazy. And they still draw big numbers, big viewership all the time, every time. They're giant brands. They're big money-making machines. Their fan bases on both the Cowboys and the Longhorns are guilty of the same thing. And that is, they typically think they're better, the team is better than it really is. Or they often think the team is far worse than it really is. There's just not a whole lot of objectivity with either Dallas or Texas. That's the fan base. That's not new. Texas now doesn't have a Jerry Jones type. There's no real icon there that people hate. There hasn't been a coach that people hate. There hasn't been a player necessarily that's fun to hate on. You know, Dallas has the ultimate icon in Jerry Jones, so that's somebody that everybody universally likes to dislike. Texas doesn't have that, but otherwise, they're really similar. Similar revenue-wise, I mean, Dallas makes more, of course, but they're still the biggest in their game. They're the biggest money-making machines in their sports. So a lot of people love them, and a lot of people are going to always hate them. In the case of Texas, I'm going to predict that the number of haters is going to grow. And I think I have a reason why I think that's going to start to grow. It's not so much that they threw a giant party for themselves with Pitbull. It was pretty obnoxious, no doubt. But I think there's going to be more to it. I think it's going to start to hit by about mid-season of this next football season. There are going to be more haters. A popular preseason talking point is, and it has been for several weeks, Texas is not going to roll into the SEC and get everything they want. Historically, it takes a while for schools to come out and say it. Somewhere along the way, wherever Texas is, whatever league Texas is in, and the critics are right. I mean, they do get whatever they want. But somebody will say, well, gosh, this doesn't seem quite fair. Why do they have their own network and this and this and this? And why do they schedule the way they do? I mean, it takes a while for it to come out. Now, they're the ultimate sugar daddy because if they're in your league, you're going to make more money. So a preseason talking point has been, oh, come on, they're not going to roll over everybody in the SEC. They're not going to demand everything in the SEC. They're not going to get everything they want in the SEC. You sure about that? I think you're going to be wrong. I'm not saying they're going to win every game. I'm not talking about the football part of it. Remember, it's like Dallas. I think that storyline is going to change. I think that storyline is going to be wrong. I do. They, of course, threw themselves $1 million party with Pitbull. And then, and it's going to take a while for this to sink in, and then they got a dream first-year schedule. And it's as soon as people start losing, I'm predicting fans and media, more than anyone else. I'm talking about, all the outside stuff. I'm not talking about the players. But I'm predicting fans and media start to say, wait a second. How'd they get a deal like that? It's a prediction. By mid-season, maybe even earlier, but certainly by mid-October, late October, a new talking point I'm predicting will be, how come Texas got such a sweetheart schedule? I'm not going to go tinfoil hat conspiracy guy, but I'm betting some people will start to make the accusation, I'm predicting this now, will make the accusation that Texas got special treatment. The online world, the dudes in their underwear world, are going to go tinfoil hat. And it won't take long for them to start messaging, why did they get that kind of setup? It's their first year in the league. Why did they go that way? Texas got the best best setup you could hope for. It's certainly the best setup you could hope for when you compare it to others. Compare and contrast. Texas plays two teams in the top 6 of the SEC. That's it. They get Georgia at home. They get Oklahoma and Dallas. That's it. No, that's it. Okay? When you think, well, come on, man. The Michigan thing has nothing to do with it. I'm talking about the SEC. Nobody got as good of a setup, and certainly not Oklahoma got that kind of setup. Oklahoma's new to the league. And look, Oklahoma's not going to whine about Texas. I don't think they're going to whine about Texas, but they're going to start to feel, if they didn't feel it already, slightly paranoid. How about this? 6 of Oklahoma's 8 SEC games, 6 of the 8 are against top 25 teams. 6 of the 8. Now, I don't know, it could end up being 7 of 8. Texas plays 2, and one of them is Oklahoma. Got it? Then you get to Florida. Remember, Texas plays 2 in the top 25. 2 teams that maybe are in the top 6 or 7 of the SEC. That is it. In a deep league, arguably the deepest, the best at the top, they only played two meaningful programs. And I don't care that it hurts your feelings. It's the truth. How about Florida? Florida is looking at their 4th losing season. That Billy Napier is dead man walking. Even if they're pretty good, they've got no chance. They play 7 top 25 teams. They play 4 top 15 teams on the road. They have a 3-game stretch of Georgia, Texas, LSU on the road. How's that feel? Florida closes the last part of their season. Okay? They play 6 of their final 7 games are against teams that are top 25 in the preseason. 4 are on the road. They will have played, by the end of the year, 5 straight weeks against top 15 teams. Let me go back to Texas. They played 2, and they just happen to have them on consecutive weeks in the top half of the SEC. Message board guy is going to go nuts before long. Probably prompted by Aggie guys saying, see, I told you, it's what they do, man. I'm telling you, this thing is do I believe they got preferential treatment? Not really, but it's not all that shocking. But no, I'm not going there. I'm just telling you that the haters are going to end up there, and at some level, you can't blame them. When you just compare and contrast, you can't really blame them. Not that anyone cares about Mississippi State, but how about Mississippi State? They traveled to start the season to Arizona State. That's 116 degrees. They get 3 top 10 teams. Top 10. They have Texas. They have Georgia. They have Ole Miss. Then you can just throw in Missouri and Tennessee might be top 10 as well. You get the idea. It seems mathematically difficult. This is what message board guy is going to arrive at by, especially if Texas is undefeated. Texas is undefeated. They beat Michigan. It's a Michigan team starting over. If you're going to play Michigan, you want to play them early on, before they find a quarterback, before they find an offense, because they have none now. But they do schedule Michigan, but that has nothing to do, obviously, with the SEC. And so, but then you get the entire season is defined on 2 weeks in October. That's Oklahoma and Georgia. Oklahoma's schedule is so difficult that by the time Texas plays them, I'm not quite sure they're top 15 or 25. I'm not quite sure they're top 7 of the SEC by that time. It could end up being by late October that Texas will have played 1 team in the SEC in the upper half. And everyone else is going to start to look at that schedule and compare and contrast. And then they're going to get prompted probably by some messages from Aggie fans saying, this is what these dudes do. And then some Oklahoma fans are going to say, yeah, see? You guys laughed and you talked trash. You said they're not going to steamroll you. Are you kidding me? Look what they did already. Look at their schedule. Now, that's what tinfoil hat guy is going to do. By the end of next year, if it's a good run by Texas. Remember, the Cowboys and Longhorns, similar brands, similar levels of more hate for Dallas than Texas, really. And that's largely because of Jerry Jones. But passionate fans in the SEC are going to finally catch on, are going to finally take notice and start to add it all up, and they're not going to be too happy about it. It's going to look bad. Luck of the draw, if you want. Texas fans are going to say, hey, man, I'm sure we'll get ours sooner or later. Luck of the draw. That's the way the algorithm works. And other fans are going to say, that's crazy. They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. There will not be rational thinking when it comes to Texas by late October, early November. That objectivity I told you didn't exist before is going to turn into hate with SEC fans once the schedule starts to take its toll on everyone else but them.